Well, hello there, you beautiful, wonderful, interesting human being. I am Andrea Dawn, and today we're going to make our way into a creative vinyasa flow. So without further ado, we'll get started in a comfortable seat. And once you get to that comfortable seat, align your ears over your shoulders, over your hips. Flutter your eyes downward or closed. Bring your palms to your thighs, face up. Soften your whole face, your brow, your jaw, maybe even roll your jaw around in your mouth. And we'll just take a moment to really and truly arrive in our bodies, mindful of our breath. And with the intention of gifting our bodies our attention for the next half hour or so. And now we'll begin to lengthen and deepen the breath. You might begin your Ujjayi pranayama, your audible breath. Drag the breath along the back of your throat. And then inhale to reach your arms overhead, high prayer. Exhale to lean over towards your left. Back through center, over towards your right. So we're just going to do a very short warm up and get right into the flow. Back through center, arms up to cactus arms. Think like cow pose. Lift through the heart and chest. And then we'll think like cat pose as we round down. Tent the fingers, bring them down to the earth, round the spine, chest bone towards the pubic bone. One more time, cactus arms. And then into what would be kind of like a cat pose. Come forward, all fours. From your all four position, we're going to head right into our downward facing dog. So take your hands a little wider than shoulder distance, spread your fingers, grip through your finger pads, tuck your toes, start to lift your hips, then straighten your legs, press your heels down and back, pedal out your feet. And we'll just get a little twist in before we start. So walk your feet into a shorter dog stance and then take your right hand over towards your left ankle or outer calf. And then we'll switch sides. Plant your right hand, take your left hand towards your right foot or your outer right calf. Good. Walk back to your traditional down dog stance, so a little longer of a stance. Hide the heels behind the toes, spiral the inner thighs up. Drag your armpits down towards your hips so you create space between your shoulders and your ears. Inhale to lift the right leg. Exhale to draw the right knee towards the chest, and as you do, we'll come into a high plank position. So shoulders over wrists, draw the knee towards the chest. Come onto the left tiptoes, push the floor away from you. Good, now we're gonna set the left knee down. Keep reaching the knee in towards the chest, and then we'll go to what would be like a cow pose. So keep the right knee bent, but lift through the heel of the foot. Inhale, lift the heart and chest, lift the head, and then exhale to step the right foot outside of the right hand into lizard pose. So you might walk the left knee back, or you could lift the left leg if you want to make this a little bit more about strength. We're going to go through the same flow twice. So this first round will go a little slower, talk about alignment a little bit more, and then the second round will be a little bit more fluid and flowy. Okay, now from our lizard pose, we're gonna come into side angle pose. So if the back knee is down, you're gonna lift the back knee. Heel toe the right foot more in towards the midline, then anchor the back foot. Use the core body to start a lift. Bring the right elbow to the right quad and circle the left arm overhead. Now, if you have impingement in the left shoulder, you might bring the left arm forward and overhead. So just depending on you. And you might even give yourself a few arm circles here. Maybe even bend the elbow, place the hand behind the back. So always reminding yourself that you have agency over your practice. Any instructor that you're listening to, they're just offering you suggestions and helping you shine light within the dark. Notice if you're breaking anywhere at the wrist or the elbow and see if you can lengthen from fingertips all the way down to outer blade edge of the foot. Now bring the left hand behind the low back and extend the right arm. Good, now let's find a lift and we're gonna pivot towards the back of the mat. So I'm gonna lift, pivot, turn the right foot in, left foot towards the back of the mat, and then come onto the ball mound of the right foot and drop the right knee. So I'm coming into an Anjaneyasana variation. My left hand is behind the back, right arm is lifted. Find a scissoring action of the legs. So if you were shortening a diagonal, it would be between the left heel and right knee. Good. Now we can stay right here, or we could add a side bend where we lean over towards the left. Energetically, the left knee would come in towards the midline. If it feels okay for you to back bend here, you might find a little more movement into the mid and upper back. So it's kind of like a side bend slash back bend where the right hand is reaching towards the back left corner of the mat. So you can get a nice stretch in the right hip flexor, right quad. And now we're going to take this into revolved half moon. So start to lean forward. This right hand will come in front of the left foot. It might go to the left of the left foot. It might come to a prop here. And then we're going to lift the right leg. See if you can get your head, your heart, your hips, and your heel in alignment. Press the right heel back, squeeze the right inner thigh in towards the midline, and rotate the spine towards the left, then maybe extend the left arm. So now you're in your revolved half moon or Parvrita Ardha Chandrasana. Good, now bring the left hand back behind the back. Land the ball mound of the right foot. We're gonna come back along the long side of the mat. So lift the right arm, switch, left foot turns in, right foot turns back forward into triangle pose. Tilt the pelvis, right hip goes down, left hip lifts. You'll drop the right arm. Good, now extend the left. So stacking the arms into a T. Notice if you're kind of rounding forward, see if you can make the core body parallel to the side wall. Reach your fingertips, at the same time drag your armpit back down. Nice lift in the right side body. Steady your breath. Good, now we're gonna head into warrior two. So bend into the right knee, arms come to a T. I've gotta find a wider stance, so I'm gonna scooch this right foot a little bit more forward. Hips level. If they were headlights, they'd be facing forward. Reach through the fingertips, draw in and down in the lats. Gaze is over the right middle finger. Kind of always making that observation, how much is enough? Do I need to back out? Do I need to get a little bit deeper? And now we'll head into flying warrior. So you can start with the left hand on the hip, heel toe the left foot in, turn the right palm up. Lean out towards the right. It's very similar to half moon. We're just gonna keep a deep bend in the right knee. Okay, so we're here, seeing it once again, heel, hip, heart, head. And now we're gonna keep our balance and turn forward. So we're heading into warrior three. Turn the left hip point down. Arms can come out wide like you're flying, or you could reach the arms back or out in front. I'm gonna clasp the hands behind me and reach the held hands back and the crown of the head forward. Beautiful. Now we're gonna come up and come to a figure four. So you might land the left foot if you need a little break in the balancing leg, or cross left ankle over right knee. Circle the arms around to prayer and sink down to your figure four. You got this. Drishti or gaze in any standing posture is about 7 to 8 feet in front of you on an unmoving point on the floor. If you want to challenge that, you can always close your eyes. And then we'll take it into our flow. So you'll step the left foot back, land the hand, step the right foot back. Any variation of flow, and that could mean that you're taking a child's pose. For this first one, I'll just demonstrate a very simple flow. Drop the knees, lower your heart and chest, elbows go straight back. So keeping the upper body in a plank position, and then press the tops of the feet, the pubic bone, find a baby back bend, baby cobra, back to all fours, and downward facing dog. Now to continue to face you, so I'm not talking away from you, I'm going to switch the front of my mat for our left side. So moving into the left side, take a big breath in, open your mouth. And then we'll inhale to lift the left leg. Knee towards the chest as you come into a high plank position. Drop the right knee. Keep lifting the knee towards the chest. Now keep the knee bent, but we'll find what would be like a cow pose as we arc the back, foot flexed, and then into what would be like a cat pose. But then what we'll do is step the left foot to the outside of the left hand. You might walk the right knee back and keep it down, or lift it up, lizard pose. Okay, we're going to take this into our side angle pose, right? So if the back leg is down, you're going to lift the back leg. Heel toe the left foot in towards the midline. Anchor the back foot, left elbow to quad. Right arm can come forward and overhead or circle around and overhead. And maybe you're taking arm circles or finding different variations to work on shoulder mobility. So remembering that this practice is for you. So a good question to ask is, how can I serve you today, body? What do you need from me? Okay, right hand behind the back, extend the left arm. We lift up, turn towards the back of the mat. Left foot turns in, right foot turns towards the back of the mat, and then drop the left knee. So we're in this modified Anjaneyasana at the back of the mat. Scissoring action of the legs. Meaning I'm not just dumping into it, right? I'm keeping a nice, strong, low back by pointing the tail down and scissoring the legs. And then we can either stay, we can side bend to the right, or we can revolve where we're reaching towards the back right corner of the mat. So make sure you stay really strong in the low back. Steady breath. And now into revolved half moon. This left hand is going to come forward of the right foot or to the right, maybe to a prop. Lift the left leg. Then you'll find that head, heart, hip, heel alignment. All the H's. Engage the inner thighs. Squeeze them in towards the midline. Rotate the spine to the right. Maybe extend the right arm. Right hand back behind the low back. Land the ball mound of the left foot. Bring it up and over. Switch the legs. Right foot turns in. Left foot turns back towards the front of the mat. Then tilt the pelvis. Left arm goes down. But keep a lift in the left side body as you extend the right arm and find triangle pose or trikonasana. So it doesn't matter if this left hand is on the ground or not, right? But we want to make sure that we're not rounding down. So you can even use this right hand for support and assistance and guidance. All right, now we're taking this into our warrior two. So bend into the left knee, bring the arms to a T. Maybe you have to elongate your stance. Like my stance is much more narrow for my triangle pose than it is for my warriors. So just acknowledging that, finding your stance, level your hips. Check in with your back arm. There's a tendency for the back arm to sag. And And then find all those qualities that make you fierce. And sometimes those qualities are our ability to be vulnerable, our ability to say hard things, to speak our truth, to arm ourselves with love and compassion and understanding. Okay, into our flying warrior. So the right hand can come to the hip, flip the left palm up. Heel toe this right foot in, right? And we keep a deep bend in the left knee and lift the right leg. So the quality of your practice is always about the quality and the amount of attention that you're paying to it versus the shape that you're in. Good, now we're gonna keep our balance and head to warrior 3. Okay, so the arms might come out wide to a T. They might reach behind you. You might clasp hands, they could reach in front of you. Keep the core engaged, lift the belly button up towards the spine. Nice work, yogis. We're gonna come to our figure 4. So it might mean that you're taking a break and stepping the right foot down, or right ankle to left knee, circle the arms around, hands come to prayer as you sink down. Steady breath, steady gaze, right? All of those things lead to a steady mind. A steady mind equals peace and ease in your life. And then hands down, step the right foot back, step the left foot back, and opportunity to take a flow, skip a flow, child's pose. I'll demo chaturanga this time. So maybe when you step back, instead of coming to your knees, you keep the knees lifted, bend the elbows, find 90 degrees. Then over onto the toes, the thighs stay lifted for upward facing dog. And then use the core, lift up and over the toes, downward facing dog. And sigh it out, maybe make a noise. I like the, sometimes there's the lion's breath. I like the horse breath. So on our mat is a place also to notice how serious we take ourselves and to give ourselves the gift of lightness and letting ourselves be a little bit more playful and silly. We're gonna work our way through that same flow, but this time we're gonna move a little bit more breath to breath. So let's start in our downward facing dog. Inhale to lift the right leg. This time we have the opportunity to bend and open. If it's in your practice and safe, you might flip your dog. The first step to flipping your dog would be coming onto the outer blade edge of the left foot like you were coming into a side plank. Maybe that's all that you go. Maybe if it's in control, you tap that foot down, and then re-extend the right leg long, right knee towards the chest as you come forward towards a high plank. Drop the left knee. Lift the back leg, open up to what would be like a cow, and then into what would be like a cat. Step the right foot outside of the right hand. We're not going to stay in lizard this time. Tuck the back toes, lift the knee, anchor the foot. Elbow to quad, left arm overhead, side angle pose. Left hand behind the back, right arm out. Lift it up and over, pivot and turn. Land the right knee down. You're in your modified Anjaneyasana, where you can side bend or revolve. And then we take it into revolved half moon. This right hand comes in front of the left foot or to the right and rotate to the left. Maybe you add a revolved dancer. The left hand takes hold of the right foot. You find opposition. And then reach the right arm forward. Wherever you are, left hand comes to the low back. We come back along the long side of the mat into triangle pose front. Right hand down, left arm up. Lift it up into warrior 2. From warrior 2, we're gonna head into our flying warrior, but let's take a reverse first this time. So we'll reverse the warrior and then take it into our flying warrior. from flying warrior into warrior 3. From your warrior 3 into figure 4. Great, now figure 4 might be the end of your flow. It might be that you're working to fold here, so you could start to work into an arm balance, one leg pigeon pose, where this outer left foot is hooking the outer right shoulder, right? Or it could be that you're working towards a peacock pose, where you're starting the twist and this left elbow is gonna hook into the sole of the left foot. So either of those are good examples to start, or just start to place the mind and the energy if you're interested in arm balances. Again, that has nothing to do with the quality of your practice. And then when you're ready, we'll take ourselves into a flow. This time I'll demo a one-leg flow. So this left leg could go back, the right leg could go back and up, forward. As I come into chaturanga, when my elbows get to 90, I'm gonna land the right foot. Then to upward facing, then to downward facing. And here we find maybe our lion's breath, maybe a sigh, maybe our horse, and we'll make our way through that one final time. You're doing such a great job. Remember, it's always, always, always about your commitment and dedication. That's what leads to accessing the fruits of this practice. Commitment. You show up, you show up, you show up. All right, here we go. Inhale to lift the left leg, where we have the option to bend and open. Maybe perhaps you flip. Then we meet by lifting the left leg, left knee to the chest into a high plank, drop the right knee. Cow-like pose, cat-like pose, step the left foot outside of the left hand. Lizard, from lizard into side angle, left elbow to quad, anchor right foot, right arm overhead. Switch the arms. Left arm extends out under the ear, right hand behind the back. Lift it up and over. Pivot the feet, drop the left knee. Option to stay or side bend or revolve. And then into our revolved half moon. Take this left hand out, left leg lifts. Rotation is to the right. We have the option this time for a revolved dancer, where you bend the knee, right hand to foot, and then you find opposition between hand and foot and lift the left arm. We're gonna meet triangle pose front. So this right hand comes back to the low back, land the left foot, bring it up and over, tilt the hips, left hand down, right arm up. Good, and then into your warrior 2. From warrior 2, this time we reversed first. Then from reverse into our flying warrior. Good, from flying warrior, warrior 3. Any arm variation. From warrior 3 into figure 4. And in our figure 4, we had the option to work into towards an arm balance. So that first one is flying pigeon. Right, so you're starting to hook this right foot to the outer upper arm. So that might mean you're just folding here, right? It's working right here. It might mean that you want to start to work on peacock, where you would start to rotate the spine and this right elbow is going to hook to the sole of the left foot, right? If you're working on that one leg pigeon, the next step is going to be to put the weight in the arms, right? And then you're going to see about lifting the back leg. And then wherever you are, it could be that one leg flow once again. Last flow of the practice. And we will meet in child's pose. So you'll come down onto your knees. Walk your hands over towards the right. Cross left hand on top of right. Press the sits bones back towards the back left corner. Back through center and over towards the left. Right hand on top of left, sits bones to back right corner. Back through center. Sweep the arms so they're out like wings, palms face up. Try to act like you're squeezing the air back behind you, and then we'll just rotate at the shoulder joint. Palms up, palms down, palms up, palms down. Good. Clasp the hands behind you. Use that to pull you up. And then walk your hands back behind you for a quad stretch. Maybe lift your knees, stretch out the front of the feet and the ankles. Fall off onto one side. Sweep your legs around. And we'll come all the way down onto our backs. Now, as you're going down onto your back, it might be that you're ready to just do so. It might be that you want to add a little hamstring and core love. If you're doing that, extend the legs out forward. Reach for your toes. Slowly start to come down onto your back and just find your low back. Then sit back up and reach for your toes. And then we'll find the middle back. Sit back up, reach for your toes. And then we'll find the shoulder blades. Once the shoulder blades, just slightly down, so you're still lifting, then hover the legs. And now we'll scissor the legs for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maybe you're done. Maybe you lift and back down for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug the knees in. Spread the knees apart. Take the arms to the insides of the legs. You can either hold on to the ankles or the feet or the outer blade edges of the feet. Check your tail. If it's starting to lift up, just stay right here. If it feels like it's grounded, then lift the soles of the feet so they're parallel to the ceiling. Maybe stay in a traditional happy baby, or maybe rock and extend one leg. Good, then let that go. Set your heels down slightly in front of your knees. Just 2 rounds of a rolling bridge. So we'll press down through the soles of the feet, press down through the belly button so that you feel your low back hit the mat. Then we'll lift the tail up. Tail lifts, lower back, middle back, upper back as you reach the arms overhead. And then come down, upper back, middle back, lower back, tail, arms. One more time, lift. And lower. Heel toe your feet wide. Take your arms out to cactus arms. Give yourself a few windshield wipers. And then we will make our way into our final rest, our Shavasana, our corpse pose. So traditionally that's legs about mat's width distance, feet splayed out to the sides, arms 6 inches off the sides of the body, palms face up. And this is our beautiful, wonderful, extraordinary reminder that we are going to die. And it's something we tend to not talk about or not think about. And yet, that acknowledgement can add so much to your life. So allow yourself to recognize your mortality daily, so that you remember to live. Stay here as long as you have the time and space for. It is always my blessing, my privilege, and my honor. Make sure to like and subscribe so that you can receive my videos weekly, as I would just love to have this beautiful, wonderful yoga sangha where we commit ourselves to the practice and to each other. My heart sees and feels and smiles to yours. Namaste, yogis.